This is Scott Becker with the Becker Private Equity and Business Podcast. Today's discussion is Cigna, Humana, plus 10 other stories that we're following today. It's been a busy news day. The first story is Cigna and Humana are apparently in talks to merge. They would create a $290 billion a year insurance behemoth. Now remember, United Healthcare is about $350 billion to $360 billion. CVS is $340 to $350, but neither United or CVS are pure play insurance. In fact, United, more than half the revenues are on the provider side through Optum. They've just acquired another 20,000 physicians. CVS, a huge amount of their revenues are through their retail pharmacy chain. So if you actually put together Cigna and Humana, you'd have a huge, almost pure play insurance company that's very deep in Medicare Advantage as well. A few other the companies that are huge insurance companies, you still got Centene, Kaiser Permanente, Elevance, and a few others. Second story we're following today, Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, who I've always found hard to love and a huge amount of ego, seems to be turning the screws in the right direction at Disney, and he's getting costs under control and starting to move the needle in the right direction. So, hats off to him, whether I love him or not. Third, Henry Kissinger, the incredible problem solver and statesman, died at the age of 100. One thing that's fascinating is he said a lot of his longevity was due to working hard throughout his entire life. Rumored that he kept on working 10, 15-hour days until his very last days. Really an amazing person. And really a problem solver, not a platitude thrower, but a problem solver. Opened up the doors to China relationships, opened up doors to negotiating with Russia. Really an unusual problem solver. We seem to need more of that in our country today. Fourth, the markets continue to point up and interest rates continue to soften. The one-year Treasury has dropped about 13 to 15 basis points, so watching that closely. Fifth, Nancy Agee, the CEO of Carillion Clinic, deserves special praise as an unusually graceful and brilliant and strong servant leader CEO. She's the CEO of Carillion Clinic and an amazing leader in person. Sixth, great to record yesterday for Unitas's Transform Operations and Transfer Infusion Operations Summits coming up. We were recording with their CEO, Mohan Giridharadas, and what a fascinatingly brilliant person Mohan is, and his partner, Sanjeev Agrawal. What brilliant people. Pleasure to visit with him yesterday and his team. Seventh, a special congratulations to Venkat Murkula and Sumi Kadakia. Brilliant people in what they're doing with Midstream Health. Eighth, I'm reading a book which is called Thinking 5 Steps Ahead, Your Next 5 Moves, Mastering Business Strategy. This is by Patrick Ben-David. And for someone like me who's an incrementalist, who's quite task-driven, this concept of balancing longer-term intentionality with shorter-term thinking is really compelling to me. I find it very interesting. I talk about these things regularly with an executive coach, Teresa Quinlan. I find the whole subject fascinating, and I find this concept of constantly learning and trying to get better very important. But again, me trying to combine this intentionality and longer-term thinking with short-term thinking versus the constant incremental approach that I often take. I'm trying to balance the two, and I find it fascinating. The next story, Salesforce jumped 9.5% pre-market. The stock's up 74% year to date. Again, Mark Benioff, crazily successful CEO. 10-story, Workday jumped 46% yesterday, 26% yesterday, excuse me. And so terrific for them. And finally, 11th, Foot Locker jumped 16% yesterday. Didn't see that coming, but they've struck some new deals. It looks like they'll be promising for them. And we did a separate podcast on this, on Charlie Munger, brilliant CEO of partner of Warren Buffett at Berkshire Hathaway, and how he never bought more house than he needed. In fact, stayed in the same house for decades as a way to sort of show his kids that showy spending and overspending wasn't a good lesson for life. I think it's a brilliant lesson. We have a separate podcast on this, All Hat, No Cattle, Don't Overbuy the House. Thank you for listening to the Becker Private Equity Podcast. We'll be back with you tomorrow with 3 episodes. Thank you very much for listening.